Over the year of 2023, I've been collecting more and more artists on different media platforms. Whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitch, each year I've been fascinated with art as I start to grow older. And with my past history on this channel and this one comment, I think it's high time I get back into the groove of things. Today, we'll be talking about 3 amazing animations. And no, I didn't mean to copy Florian from AAA, which you should go check out his channel. He has amazing analysis, but I actually was taking this idea from Markiplier with his 3 scary games. But with all that out the way, let's get into the first animation. Also, don't forget to check out my theory video. If you know my content, then you can already tell that I love the small things. The tiniest of details just make me happy altogether. And Gassy's and Gas and stuff does just that, but more. There are so many details in this 3-minute animation that you can write a whole book about it. But before we graze the surface of this animation, we need to know who made it. Sierra Smith is an animator/illustrator based in Chicago, Illinois. Her work is dated throughout her website and goes all the way back to 2014. Honestly, looking at her work made throughout her lifetime is inspiring and stunning for what you can do if you work towards your dream. Just take a look at these wonderful pieces. I didn't even know it yet, but I've already seen her work before too, when Blood Bucket came out in 2022. I have no idea what the meaning behind it was, but it was a good watch for me. I would go into what makes the video so interesting, but that's for another day. Now that we know who Sarah is and her work, let's go back to the animation. We start the animation off with Lulu the dog applying to become a worker at the local gas station. Now, you heard what I said about the small things. If we pause right here, we can already see so much stuff from the introduction of the film. There's a cat bottom right under the desk. There's a toucan in the back holding a bottle, and many more other things to point out. That's just the tip of the iceberg, but as we move along, we get introduced to the manager and the other co-worker.
Hey, job application. 1 minute.
Honey, I gotta get this pizza going.
You know, it's not easy working here. There's always something to do, never a moment of rest.
You're in luck, little doggy. We always need help. You're hired. Here's your state-mandated advisor.
We don't get their names, but we get to see their personalities. And let me just say, working in customer service for a year or 2 makes this so relatable, seeing how they work. The manager feels like a real manager. They have enough energy to give to the whole world while also staying on top of everything. Maybe that's why they have 2 heads. The coworker is laid back and kind of been working there for a hot minute, knowing what to do and kind of just giving you some work as well. The animation, music, and voice acting kind of just blends in all together. Instead of looking at it like a short animation, it kind of turns into like a pilot episode of how someone would be working in a customer service. And the best part is that anyone can relate to this, like to people who are on the outside who never worked in customer service but see how it feels, or to people on the inside who know how it feels when seeing a stockroom or regular customer. Alright, for the next scene, just take in how many references are made here.
You're gonna need to do basic math for when you ring up customers for things like gas, cigarettes, food, bev, lottery. Our famous deli has some of the finest meats, cheeses, Sammys, and pizzas in the county. And here we have our movie rentals and kibble and propane. You name it, we probably sell it. This is our back room, excuse the mess. This is everything that needed to be restocked yesterday. That's job number 1, Lulu. You're gonna do great. Go get 'em.
About 11 references were made in this 15-second span, and I might not be counting all of them, so if you see a reference, comment down below. But it's so cool to see small homages to different items to real life. And I know that sounds silly, but it's kind of like an inside joke for people who know. That's why I love to see those little small details. In the next scene, we get to see 2 new characters. The first one is a possum who's looking for chiller lowlife. I think I get the reference again. But the possum personality, it fits the character really well.
Chiller Low Life. You're out of Chiller Low Life again?
They were limited edition.
Can't you just check in the back?
We've got new flavors coming this afternoon, but nah, no more Chiller Low Life ever.
again. Not now. Go on, get
Out of the best sodas.
Acting very dramatic and pretending to die just like a real possum would. But after he leaves, we get to meet the next character, Billy the Goat.
Wow, dang. You know, some people just have a void they can only fill with a drink. Hey, could you just open this for me?
He's just chill. Nothing really more to say about him. I think he has a cool voice actor. We get this cool transition of checking out the drink at the front counter into stocking the drink in the refrigerator. And then the manager has a mental breakdown for not having enough space in the back for the new thriller's low life. Lulu, like any good customer service worker, says I could stay overtime. And we get this amazing montage with fire music in the back.
All clear.
Not bad, new girl.
After the montage of cleaning and finding Chiller Lowlife, a new day starts, and if you didn't notice, the manager changed heads and voice actors, which is a really cool touch to the beginning of the episode. Lulu is the cashier for the day, and we get to see some new characters as well, like a rat that acts very sneaky, and a crocodile that just wants his newspaper and beer, and plays football. I already have a really good understanding from both of them just in these few seconds. That's how good of an animator and storyteller that Sierra is. The last customer we see in the animation is the possum again, who wanted that Chiller Lowlife, and we get this pretty chill ending.
Whoa! Knew you'd grew on me, new girl. Here's exact change.
Sir, excuse me? What about your breakfast?
Nah, all I need is my pop. Thank you.
This was a fun little animation that made my day. I love all these small details, characters, colors, and just everything about it. It just feels like it makes sense in a way, you know what I mean? Just like how things would work in that world. I would love to see more of it, honestly, I would. Maybe in a comic form or maybe something else. Another fun fact is that Sierra's About page on her website says she was raised by a marching band and a family gas station. Maybe that's one of the reasons why this short animation feels spot on. But I do know one thing, she deserves more followers. Go follow her Twitter, go follow her website and her art. She has amazing projects and led me to really cool stuff. So do the part and follow her. But on to the next animation. This one is a bit tricky to explain to you. I've done everything I could to figure out who was the creator behind this animation. I went to their Twitter and even Instagram, but there isn't really much info out there. I don't know if this was done on purpose to not have anything public, but I would like to respect their privacy if that is the case. So what we're going to be doing is going over the one animation they did last year as a reference. In July of 2021, on the 26th, Insane Incorporated made an animation that mixed live action with animation, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Looney Tunes Back in Action, but with a mix of a sitcom vibe. Honestly, the acting, voice acting, and animation are pretty spot on with what it tries to capture with. It feels like a homemade video trying to see what it's like in a life of a cartoon character and their human friend. Now that we know what the art style is gonna look like and how the animation will be like, we'll know what the next video is gonna be like. Right? Nope, not at all. Out of nowhere, we get this animation about villains and their disdain to this character we don't even know yet. Before we get into this whole debacle, I just have to say the animation style has changed dramatically to a more 80s feeling like BioShock or the show Batman the Animated Series. I forgot at times that artists can have more than one art style. It always puts a smile on my face because it's a fact that people love to get out their comfort zone or just have different art styles that can blow your mind. But back to the animation. We get this stylized thumbnail intro as if this was a Tom and Jerry episode, named the Red Eclipse, with some shots of the city, and let me just say, they are stunning. I would love to have these as backgrounds, or one of those wallpaper engine animations. Before we get introduced to the villains, we can already tell how their personalities will already be, and it's all because of how they hold their cards. Let me explain. The first hand we see is very organized and straight to the point, so they must think of themselves highly and smarter than most of the people around them. Maybe a leader of some sorts? Then we see the hand to our left. It's all jumbled up and one of the cards is facing backwards. Maybe they're goofy and they're knowing they're doing this on purpose, or maybe they just don't know that they're doing it, but they for sure don't have a rhyme or reason. Maybe they were once human but lost their mind due to some chemical spill or something. The hand on the right is more relaxed, open, and is lowered on the table. This could be a sign of someone who thinks before they act. It might be more than just that. They might plan out way ahead of time before doing any actions, and maybe they do it for others. This could be another leader. With the next scene, we get the two last villains. The hand in front of us is rigid and stiff, as if they like following a rule set. They must be hard on others a lot, maybe even giving people punishments if they don't like following their rule set. And the last hand on the right is almost neat, but some of them are out of line. A feeling as if they don't like to sit still. They like to act before they think. And as we keep going into this, you guys will see their personalities unfold right in front of you, as I just predicted how they would act.
Could you please?
It's her ADD. Leave her alone.
What are we doing here?
Displaying forbearance.
Does anyone know what that means? Do you even know what that means?
He means patience. I'm a judge. I'm used to patience. But as a judge, I don't like my time wasted.
I would love to say their names one by one, but I don't want to butcher them, so I'm just gonna let the animation do it for me.
You actually showed up. Verdict, Encyclopath, Lady L, Misconduct, Blot.
Gosh.
Each character is so spaced out from one another, you can feel the tension in the room, as if they were liquids that are immiscible. It's not a bad thing actually, it's a really good way of showing character diversity. Not everyone is thinking the same thing in that room, and we can obviously tell they don't look the same too, which is cool storytelling. But a man walks to the table. We don't know who he is, but it seems like they have something in common. Like I said in the beginning of the script, they hate this one guy named...
I meant the Red Eclipse.
The Red Eclipse.
Where's going wabbit?
The Red Eclipse!
Everyone gets really mad, and to the point where Misconduct blows up the light bulb. I really love how good the transition is when the light bulb turns off to a different perspective of the table. It's a really nice touch of just moving along the story. They start discussing how to get rid of the Red Eclipse. None of it is useful, but with one idea left. Whoever made them come together had a plan, an expensive one at that, ordering a mercenary from Japan. Now you might be thinking, what's next? What will happen? And who's the new member? And you know what? I'll just let the animation do the talking.
Meat origami. Assassin. Best I could find. Unfortunately, the shipping isn't cheap.
Factotums.
I'm not going to show you all of it because I want you to go support the creators themselves. Links down below to their Instagram and YouTube because they make really good animations. Can't wait to see more of them. And they also have a Patreon, so maybe go check that out. And I also have a Patreon too. You can donate $1 if you would like. But that's besides the point. The fight scene was beautiful. The fight was beautiful. It had an amazing song to match the feeling. They used different angles, different weapons. It just had me in shock. And it's crazy how people can make animation look so dangerous. I can't wait to see more from Insane Inc. I feel like their stuff has a lot to bounce off of and would make a pretty awesome series. I wish I could see more of their work, like some past art that would be helpful to understand where they came from and how they got here today, but I'm sure whatever they make now will still just be as good as amazing back then. But let's move on to the last animation. My head wrapping around this artist or artists is giving me an artist overload. It's not in a bad way, just never seen before, and it's all coming to me now. Like I said for the last artist, I love seeing different art styles conveyed through different ways, like Blender, music, or even digital art. So seeing all of this put together is really impressive. I hope one day I can make something like this on this level. But before we get into the animation, we need to know who made this. Okay, so I guess this was easier to find, but yet hard to pinpoint. VILF is an organism that makes products to perpetuate our idiosyncrasies. And to be honest with you, I don't know what this really means, but to give you a good educated guess, it means to keep up or to prolong our unique characteristics. And I could say for 100% you can see it in their art form. Just take a look at this video all the way back in 2020.
多分検査3個来ました。今日なので、さっき2人ずっとびっくりします。多分検査3個来ました。来てくれました。皆さん、食べてトリプルスルー。私、スリーサイズで、本当に今アプリ立ち上げてるからね。
Honestly, I don't know how many people are behind this project or this company or this organism or whatever you call it, but I just love it. Whatever is happening, I respect it. I hope to see more of it this coming year. I went to their website to get more information, and let's just say it's a ton of fun. You have everything there, to contacts, to artwork, and to monkey. Yes. You heard me right, monkey. I've tried so hard to figure out the password that I stopped writing the script just to figure it out. And sadly to come back to not finding anything, I just gave up and came back to writing the script. I might go back to this one day, but with all that information, it's high time that we get to the animation. The animation starts off with two characters, a boy with a box head and a girl with a round head. They look at each other and ponder this idea.
What's wrong with your head?
Honestly, off the bat, it has an amazing art style, mixing Blender and digital animation with its own music. Like I said, it has to be one of my favorite animations this year, but not only for the animation, but storytelling too. I feel like there's two stories being told here, but I won't give you my conclusion until later. They both start talking about what's different between their heads, with one stating that they have 4 sides and the other having only one. They ask each other why, but they have no answer for each other. The girl says,
"It's not that I don't like squares."
And the boy gets upset, telling the girl to roll off like a circle. I love the cute mannerisms between these two characters. It's if they're totally opposite but wanting to know one another. The girl gets offended and says that all circles don't roll, but the boy says I do, and he tries to roll, not working out and just making the girl laugh. But at the end, the girl thinks the boy's cute, and then the boy says, "I like your head," and the girl follows, ending the scene with a kiss. We move on to another person with a different head shape, with the narrator asking, "What about our head?" Going into why we should cherish our head shape, but then questioning that same statement, using another character as a reference for their very question. We see a fellow who has a singular long head shape, stating that,
"No one really likes the shape of my head. I think it's because it's so tall."
What's sad about this scene is it's not that they think their head is tall because of looking at it, but because of other people's opinions, which can influence us to think lower of ourselves because of how high standards are these days. Going on to retell a story of this occurring.
"One time while I was fishing, one little guy popped his head out and told me,
'Wow! You have the largest head I've ever seen!'
He called his friends, and they all laughed at me. That wasn't very kind. But since then I enjoy dinner time much more, even if I'm all alone."
The dangers of the outside world does not only apply to just being outside. It can happen from both on the internet and in public. It's terrible to think that such things can happen. And in the animation, we can already see the effects that it has on the character, making them want to be alone more and isolated, with it fading to black. Then we get a character stating,
"You know, I feel proud of my head myself. You know, I feel proud of my head myself. Is that too much pride to handle?"
as a tombstone rises up, or another name for it, a headstone. I don't know what it truly means to have too much pride, but I can understand that it can lead to some people's downfall. Like for instance, the next animation, and keep in mind this question they ask. The next scene is a little bit risky, but I hope that doesn't bother you. We are greeted with a woman that has a really big round head, with two other, I guess you could call, smaller heads, as a small little white head that keeps caressing the two smaller heads, filling her with pride. And she asks these questions like, is my head too big? What if it was smaller? But the white little head keeps just giving her more and more pride, saying that her head is just perfect. But the white head doesn't really care. The white head only cares about doing whatever the actions that they're doing. And they keep filling her head with pride until her head pops. The ending is a bunch of montages of different things happening, which I can't explain to you at all. I get lost up to this point, but maybe one day I might understand what it really means. If the creator of this is listening, I really love your work, and I hope to see more of it later on from this year. Thank you for making something that's really cool. This definitely inspires people and has touched a lot of people from a lot of places, and I hope that it keeps inspiring people to keep making art. So, like I said in the beginning of the animation, I think two stories are being told here. The first one could be growing up from a kid to a teen, then adult. Just like in the beginning, it was innocent kids being kids. Then we get to the teen part where people make fun of you just for being you, where people mock you just because of you, having a lasting effect on you, pushing you to be more lonely. Then you have the last one, where adults doing adult things, acting out on their own pleasure, like manipulating someone for their own goal, or doing something out of lust. The other story that could be explained here is the simple facts of love, hate, and lust. It's the same story as the last one as I just explained to you, but a little bit more simpler. I hope this was a good explanation of what I thought of the animation could be. Maybe I'm wrong, wrong? Maybe you saw something differently. Tell me down below. Go make sure you support VILF and their Twitter and their YouTube channel, and also make sure to go check out the website. Maybe you might be able to crack the password on Monkey, but you know, I couldn't figure it out myself. Also, while you're at it, could you please make sure you subscribe? Most of my subscribers are not subscribed when they see my videos, and I think it would help me a lot if you would. Turn on the bell notification, make sure you love yourself, and if you can't come to my Patreon, then the best thing you can do is just tell other people about my videos. Thank you so much. The whole video idea was just to get other people to just find an artist that they love and they go follow them. So my whole mission for today was just, hey, if you found an artist you love, you found an artist you love. But that's enough. I'm done editing for today. Love y'all, and the next video will be out soon.